I've read Marx. I've read Engels. I've read Das Kapital.
The world is run by Trotskyists.
Hardcore Trotskyites.
How great an anti-American Marxist.
They're controlled by Trotskyists, as you put it, and these are the most evil, sick human beings on the face of the planet.
All right, folks, so you are listening to the Left Opposition podcast. As usual, my co-hosts Joe and Aaron are with us, and we have a special guest panel with us. We have Paul, Peggy, Ryan, and Derek, all union members, three of whom are with me in the reform group within our union, the National Association of Letter Carriers. We're called Build a Fighting NALC in the Massachusetts, soon-to-be New England group. And we have Peggy Wang, who is with us from the Independent Socialist Group and a member of the Massachusetts Teachers Association. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. All right. So the first guest we want to talk to the most, because she's got some interesting stuff going on, is Peggy. So, Peggy, if you want to just tell us how things have been going, what's been happening. This has been quite a week for you. So if you want to give a background, what happened, and well, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's interesting because just yesterday, I don't know if people are aware of the crackdowns at Columbia. Student protesters there heavily attacked. So this is part of the ongoing demonization, repression of Gaza protesters. And just this past week, just this Monday, I was called into by my managers at my workplace, and I work at MassArt in Massachusetts as a state employee. And I was called in and told I was put on administrative leave, paid administrative leave over going to a Gaza protest on my off hours, off campus, 2 weeks ago. And so, they basically targeted me and one of my coworkers who were both there. There were also some students there. I just saw it advertised and thought I'd go to show support. It was, divesting from weapons, standing against genocide, which I absolutely support. So I went, and the school is trying to, it's part of this larger way, larger just demonization of the pro-Palestine movement, of the anti-genocide movement. We had this protest. It went onto the MassArt campus. We turned around, and after we went inside and left, it was a peaceful protest. No one was there looking to do anything, as far as, I wasn't there looking to I just wanted to peacefully protest. It sounded like it went fine. People spoke. And it's really awful because students have gotten disciplinary letters over this. Again, being put on administrative leave is the first step toward a process of workplace trying to fire you and things like that. So it's quite serious. I have my job and livelihood on the line. But my union, right? I'm a member of the Massachusetts Teachers Association, and like a lot of other unions, we've been in support of a call for a ceasefire, whatnot. I don't know if folks know, but there's Labor for Ceasefire. Forget what the full name is. There's like a kind of national labor group that's for a ceasefire. And our union's part of that, along with a lot of other unions, I believe UAW, whatnot. These are our basic freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, freedom to protest, and they're being cracked down on, and also just part of the wider crackdowns in general on free speech too, especially particularly union workers who are activists, and also on college campuses as well. As we know, Rumeysa Ozturk also getting disappeared by ICE at Tufts University, not too far away from here. So there's a lot I can talk about, because it's just, the Democratic Party's role in this. People think, oh, Massachusetts, blue state. It's no different. The Democrats absolutely in support of backing up these repressive the repression in general of pro-Palestinian protests. We saw last spring huge crackdowns on different campuses. In Boston here, we had students at Emerson, I think possibly Suffolk as well. The Mayor Wu, who is a Democrat, brought the Boston Police Department out on those students, and they were wiping blood off the walls of the alleyway outside. It was really, really horrific. And it's not ending. And we should have the right to speak out on these things. Absolutely. And we also need to defend us as union members who exercise these rights. We should exercise these rights, but we should not be attacked for them. So yeah, we've been calling for us to be taken off of administrative leave. We organized a protest yesterday in support of these rights, in support of those who are speaking out against the just obliteration of the people in Gaza who are Palestinian people. But yeah, it's really, really horrific. The whole student visas, like getting revoked over these things. It's really scary times. But I think our unions should help play a role in fighting back against those things. We have a petition going around from the former president of our union, calling for us to be taken off of administrative leave, brought back into our job responsibilities. It sucks because my students are having their senior show, which I go to every single year. Like, we support them all through the year, and I'm not able to be there with them, and it's devastating. It's terrible. And there's no reason, I should be on paid leave. So yeah, it's been great to see the union support us. We had at our protest yesterday the vice president of the MTA come out and speak at it, which was really, really amazing. And also just members beyond our MassArt community. We had faculty, staff, students there protesting in defense of the right to speak out, especially in Gaza. But the labor movement should do more on this, and to defend us, to defend our students, against these attacks. So I will share the petition link if folks want to sign in support. We really would like just solidarity on that front, and to let the administration know these attacks are not okay. We want to be brought back onto our job responsibilities, and for students to not be disciplined, to have any disciplinary measures that have been taken to be revoked. So
all right. Wow. So I know we talked a little bit earlier today about the event, but I have read some of the charges too. The letter was a joke. Really, I mean, you're talking to a bunch of union activists in our letter carrier union, and usually the letter needs to have rules you actually violated, but you're not actually named as doing anything. It's just like, if I understand correctly, there was an event. We think you were here, therefore paid leave. Like, we're putting you on admin leave. Like, which is what happened at this? Was there did someone get stabbed at this thing? Like, did something horrific happen where we need to go after 50 people and do what were they claiming was so bad at this thing that happened?
Right. Yeah. So they're accusing us of shouting like, "We will get you, we will find you." I never once heard that, and I myself did not say that. They're saying that, we pushed a public safety officer. I never touched a public safety officer. I don't know what they're talking about. They're saying we forced entry or some kind of thing. It's really, really absurd. And as far as I can tell, we were peacefully there. When we entered the building, we got inside. It looked like maybe people wanted to go further into the building, but then I saw a public safety officer just look to close the doors, and I was like, okay, well, if we were trying to go there, sounds like we're not going to, so we should, I just walked out and folks left. What did we do that was wrong? And they're saying oh, we told you to leave and you didn't leave. I'm like, we were in there for maybe a minute and left. it's really absurd, and I never once heard anyone tell us to leave. So I don't know what they're saying. It's really, yeah, it's really, really ridiculous.
Jesus. Another that's just I'm trying to wrap my head around like the fact that like usually they'd have to suspend you. I mean, usually an investigation would be like, we saw you doing something, therefore your actions did it. But I've never seen just a blanket. You were there, some things were said, there was some shouting, therefore we're taking you off. And what really makes me sad, and you know, you talk about the, you know, you get to see all your students, and it's their big day, right? It's like the big premiere of all this stuff, and you have to miss out on that because some bureaucrat in an office says 50. Now, are you the only one? Is there a bunch of other people? How did that? I know. So when you were brought into the office, you want to talk a little bit about that, how the conversation went when they told you to come in? Because that was a kind of a
Yeah, it's
surprise to
actually
you.
really bad because they told us, hey, this is the letter, this is what we think you did, and we're investigating this. Um, it's yeah, it's very ridiculous that I'm being put on leave for anything. Like literally, this is all well within my rights to do. Um, but they in that letter, they basically were like, you are not allowed to talk to any coworkers except your union rep about this matter. And I was like, they said, please do not speak to any of your coworkers regarding this matter. And yeah, like it's absolutely ridiculous because it is our grounds for an unfair labor practice to say that. So really absurd. And yeah, we filed a ULP charge against that, but they really don't want people to talk about what goes on. And there's a lot of fear spreading and rumors that could be spread around stuff like this. And they intentionally want to confuse people, divide people, like, again, demonize people who are speaking out on Gaza. So yeah, and there's money behind all of this, right? Like there's a lot of, yeah, a lot of corporate interests, a lot of
I
like,
am shocked to hear that. I can't believe this at all. Wow. Holy moly. I'm glad I'm sitting down for that news, but I mean, these are just, I mean, these are, I mean, no one, so if I get, there was no property damage, nobody was physically assaulted, nobody was hurt. Why? Usually, like I was joking about a stabbing. A stabbing might require an investigation. If someone stabbed a guy, all right, but what damage was inflicted? Like was there like a smashed window, a dumpster fire?
literally nothing. And it's funny because like, well, funny is probably not the right word, but like I heard about the Columbia crackdown, and was reading about that. And also I don't know if folks know, but there was a ICE raid in Worcester, Mass, yesterday as well. That was
Oh,
really, really awful. People are protesting that. I don't know if they're still protesting that now, but they were earlier today. But there's these trumped up charges against people who are literally just like running from officers trying to get away because like ICE is in our streets, like just attacking people. And they'll, say things like, oh, you touched someone, or these allegations. There's not any of that going on. And it's really, really terrible that like they'll claim people were being violent when absolutely that's not the case. So yeah, it's it's bad, but it's very much like aggressive attacks on
Is this
our
something?
rights
Is
and characterizing them the wrong way.
it's something they did at, I think it was the Columbia encampment, where they actually sicked a bunch of like, fucking Zionist fascist thugs up
So
against these kids.
definitely UCLA, I think.
Oh, what was it, UCLA? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And um, of course, the news is like, look at these violent students. Look at them. They're acting like this, and then it shows the footage of like just violence breaking out because you fucker started this. People are running from ICE because like these masked, unmarked like dipshits are
Gestapo
just surrounding
low-key.
people. They pull up in a van. They don't identify themselves. They're not wearing uniforms, no badges or anything, and they're all wearing masks. So I guess masks are okay again. And they fucking shove you in a van. Like, yeah, of course you're gonna run. It's if these are such violent thugs that we're getting kicked out of the country, then like, why aren't they fighting back? I'm surprised. I'm genuinely surprised, and I'm not endorsing this, but like that there hasn't been any sort of like violent like defense, like self-defense. Like if I'm walking down the street and 6 guys jump out of a van to try and kidnap me, like shit's going down. You know,
Yeah, well,
you know,
especially if they're accusing all these people of being like gang members and part of these like cartels and shit. And it's like those are organized groups, like there would be warfare in the streets if you were really going after like MS-13 members or whatever the fuck. Not that I know so much about those, but like it's just yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like you're clearly just grabbing random people.
yeah,
Like,
it's
go
just
fuck yourself.
it's just yeah, this woman holding a baby was clearly a public safety threat and a violent gang member. So like this whole narrative about violent protesters, they're doing this exact same thing to protesters fighting against violence and war and genocide. And so like, and anyone with half a brain can see that these two things are related and connected. And it's the same people in charge. Biden and Trump both were cracking down on this, and this is why, like we can't vote our way out of this anymore. It's going to take genuine struggle. It's going to take people continuing to mobilize and organize, and ultimately get labor involved. Because I feel a little demoralized personally when I've been going to Gaza rallies and we march in circles and block off city blocks. And like, what else are we supposed to do? Because like that's what it is. And I'm like, okay, well, it's not going anywhere. The genocide's been going for like I don't know how long, 18 months now, and it's not stopping and it's not slowing down. It's been complete impunity. And like, so I don't know, how do we escalate it? How do we escalate this struggle? And it's very easy to crack down on dissent when we have people terrified that they're going to be deported for no reason, because they're talking about deporting American citizens too.
Right. I mean, I think the other thing
nuts.
too is that like with Worcester there's a scuffle, right? Like that's what's going to happen, because if they could round me up because there's no more due process, like it doesn't matter anymore. Even if you are innocent, and by the way, it's not like you're going to go be held somewhere, in the county jail, and then you get a lawyer and the lawyer can get you out of there. You're going to be thrown into a concentration camp in El Salvador because there's no due process. How do you know that you're innocent? How do you know I got the right guy? They don't know. They're just going to throw people in there. So yeah, you probably should run, because no matter what, even if you are innocent, they're now that they've like gotten all the bad people, like now they're putting 4-year-olds with cancer with no medication and sending them off because their mother was from Guatemala. Like,
Yeah.
These people, like, this is going to happen. And, there's people who are trying to fight back on that. And that's what's happening. You have people speaking out against Gaza and they're being arrested. What's happening to Peggy is not a coincidence that, like, this is all happening. And also, it's not a big, as a point too, is that Peggy was on her break. It's not like you're even like, it's not even on their time. Like, if you were supposed to be at work doing something, you're like, okay, I should be at work, but you were on your break. They're not even paying you. What the hell? Like, and like I said, nothing happened. No one got hurt. Nothing happened. Maybe someone's feelings might have been hurt, which, let's be honest, that's more important than kids being, drone strike and cluster bombed to death. But I mean, this is something that is, and like I said, they just rounded anybody up. Anybody, anyone who was there close enough.
Well, yeah, I just want to add something about that atmosphere that's been created. And on top of it, that what's his name? The fucking Goebbels. Oh my God. The like white nationalist guy who handles immigration. Stephen
Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah. We said white
I was
nationalist.
like,
I'm like,
you're gonna have to narrow that down. That doesn't
all right.
Who's
Which
that
white
Nazi
nationalist?
fuck who works
The
for
most
Trump?
white nationalist. All right. You're not helping, but all right. Yeah.
But he floated today like suspending habeas corpus, and it's like, yeah, well, that's the move, right? Like that's how they're gonna get fucking citizens too, who are just they just don't like. And it's not a coincidence that trans people and communists are like the thing, the like targets du jour that they've been after. But I just wanted to add that like it's amazing how all these institutions just go along with this like authoritarian atmosphere. Like obviously they were doing it kind of on their own anyway, but like I call this MAGA realism, where like it's like they're trying to like comply with the Trump administration, so there's no trouble, and it's like, but there's just more and more trouble if you do what they say, and but what's happened is that like you know the I think Israel October 7th was a breaking point, and Israel set this tone, and it was made, of course, much worse by Biden, Trump, CNN, all of this shit. They set this precedent of convenient accusations with no evidence, and just said these things enough times that that's just what people are hearing, and obviously they're not too keen on people hearing the other side of it because that's what's being suppressed here.
Yeah, I just want to say, and I want to piggyback on Joe's point too. It's what's going on here is that what Joe said, they're going along with it. That's what they are doing. Like, I'm sure MassArt, Harvard, all these institutions are just like, what's pathetic is like now they're like, well, Harvard's kind of doing some things, but there was a lot of like, we're changing policies on free speech. We're limiting free speech at Harvard. They said they modified it. It's just, no, they're clamping down on free speech. Eventually there was just a bridge too far, but all these other universities that did not defend the kids from speaking out, like, all these, like, and a lot of these like professor, not, the administrators who spoke out against the Vietnam War, who spoke out against the Iraq War, they were fine. They took the beatings, but somehow Palestine, which in my, look, they're all bad, but like Palestine is just real-time genocide. The Iraq War, I was a kid for Iraq, and that was bad enough, but this is simply genocide, what's going on. So was with Vietnam, but like, my God, and people are speaking out, and just the clampdown has been insane lately. And it's just these institutions, because they don't want to touch the money. All they care about, it's not the kids' free speech. It's not the students. It's not the staff. It's not the people. We want that money. We want that sweet, sweet government Pell Grant money coming in, and we don't want to threaten it. And we're going to round up anybody so Daddy Trump doesn't mess with our money at all. And that's so pathetic to see these administrators do this stuff too. And what's happening to Peggy just pisses me off. But and I see that before I call on Paul, Ryan, I know you went. I was just gonna talk to you for 1 sec too. If you're there, hopefully he is.
I'm here.
Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. So Peggy did ask me. She's like, "Have you heard?" We were talking, and she's like, "Have you heard about this petition?" And I go, "Actually, I already got the petition. Ryan sent it out." Ryan, if you want to give a little short story, which is cool, but how did you get the petition and what's going on with that?
It's like a very short, unadventurous story. I'm on Jessica Tang's mass fight back email list, and she sent out an email blast about it. I don't know. Do you know about the mass fight back? It's fine.
I had no idea. It's so weird. I sent it to one of my best friends, and when she responded, she was like, "Oh, I got that petition before I read your message." And I was like, "Are you shitting me?" It's fucking awesome. Like we got over 1,100 signatures in basically like a day and change or something, which was incredible. Like there's a group within my union, the MTA, the Mass Teachers Association, that is rank and file for Palestine. And they've been organizing a lot, doing divestment, other things as well. But they've been a huge part of, connecting us to other groups and getting the word around. And it's really amazing to have that kind of solidarity within our union. But it's people signed that. I mean, it just got around, and it was really, really awesome to see. So.
All right. Also, I see Paul, you're on Stack. If you want to say, Paul.
Yeah, following what Joe said about how our employers always just kind of go along with this shit. I think a big part of it, especially when you're a public-facing employee and you work for a public institution, something in our contracts, unionized or not, always has something to do with some sort of ethics about how we present ourselves to the public on and off the job. and they always hold it against us. It's always never, the goalposts always move, but somehow your conduct off the job, off hours, not being paid, has something to do, can always share some negative light upon the institution, which they then use to take action against you. And it's just you ask, how is it that our jobs are always taking action against us for doing these things? Well, it's built in. It's built in. You sign up to work there and they say, well, doesn't matter, you're on the clock, off the clock, you can't make us look bad, whatever looking bad means. And if you do, we're going to take action.
Yeah, they're just policing your personal lives because they don't want you rocking the boat, even if you're in your off hours.
And it's further and further entrenchment, and you can't win, really. It's anything you do or anything you think at this point, they'll take action against.
Well, that's the exact reason, as we were, I was basically told by my union representative, just say sorry or whatever, just apologize and it'll go away. And I'm just like, I have literally done nothing wrong or whatever. Or they were just like,
Good.
oh, this will be fine. You don't need to do anything. And it's like the power of our union to begin with at all comes out of us being organized, us, the protests yesterday did have an impact. The petition going around has had an impact. People have been emailing the school administration and things like that saying, this is outrageous. I do not stand for this. That amount of pressure does a lot more. We won't win in the courts. We won't win. We can have all the right reasons, but at the end of the day, it's the question of power. Do the workers have power? Do working people have power to stand up against basically the interests of the rich at the end of the day?
That's
party
something I
really,
wanted
which
to
funds
ask.
our public schools and stuff.
So what's, and maybe the internal side of it is a little, play too close to the chest. You don't want to give it away, but what's your feeling about what your union's doing about it? I mean, are they having the right response? Are they helping you out?
Well, so the MTA, amazing. We had a lawyer on our case really quickly. They made an exception. It's usually for, contract related things, but this was clearly political. So we had a quick response with that, which was amazing. VP of the statewide president came out to speak. Thank you. That meant so much. Faculty union president was there, but I asked my union leadership to, defend me, to share this petition, to speak at the protest, and they were not there. It was really, really awful for that to happen. We need our union.
I think it's called an injury to one is an injury to all. Do they know about that? Have they? I don't know. Have they heard? Has anyone heard this phrase? Right? Oh, I'm sorry. All right, I didn't interrupt.
It's only at their on their website.
Oh, that's right. It's only a slogan on a banner.
I get how they'd miss it.
That's true. All right.
But if we don't have our unions defending us, right? What does that say? What are the ramifications for the rest of your union membership, to the broader labor movement? We need, there is leadership in my union that has stepped up. But when you have sometimes the MTA is a big union, and we're composed of about basically 400 sub-unions, so to speak, locals and things like that. So it can really sometimes vary. And when you don't have leadership that's going to stand up for you, how you need to rally people in your defense. And we're constantly talking about how do you broaden the labor movement? People should not be fighting contracts. These 50 people here, these 100 people here, 300. It's absurd. The labor movement has been in solidarity with one another in the past, much more than it has, maybe more currently. I mean, I hope that changes, but with you all who are letter carriers in NELC, where is the rest of the rest of the labor movement? I'm not just talking about NELC members. I'm talking about UPS workers. There are other unions that are in the USPS.
Yes, okay. Yeah.
I always get that mixed up.
We have the clerks union, we have the mail handlers union, we have mechanics, we have all these people, and our union they don't talk to each other. We're 5 postal unions. We don't talk to each other at all. The leadership doesn't do it. It's just, they used to pretend, called it the Grand Alliance, but nope, we don't do that. We don't even bargain.
What's
We
the
haven't
point?
bargained together.
I don't even know who the clerk steward is in our office.
I bet they don't either. You know, it's Jesus God. But yeah, that's the thing. It's a very fragmented thing. And like, I know the Central Labor Councils, their goal is to bring it together. Have you reached out to the, another thing is the greater Boston, you're in the greater Boston area. Is that where you're based out of,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. MassArt is in Boston. Yeah.
Has there been any outreach by them? I know Ryan attends those, and Derek, I know you guys attended, but I know it just happened, so it might be soon, but is there any chance they're getting involved at all and mobilizing people?
I'm not aware. I've been connected with some folks, but yeah, not that I'm aware of. But I mean, if
Okay.
they wanted to take this up, it would be great. Like I honestly feel like you say, an injury one is an injury to all. And so like it was great to have, yeah, people who are in the MTA beyond the MassArt, workplace come out and support. It meant so much to have people, yeah, show up. But literally, it's like Roxbury Community College is down the street, UMass, Boston is not too far away. Like, I'm thinking about even at recently, Clark University undergrad workers went on strike. They're trying to join the labor movement. They want to unionize and improve pay, have like safety standards, because they're wildly undergrad workers are doing trash compacting and like icing, de-icing like sidewalks and streets in the wintertime. Like as far as I know, that seems like a union job, municipal job, full-time benefited. I think that Teamsters probably often do jobs like that or have members who
Yes.
do work like that. But so they were trying to join the Teamsters actually out in Worcester, the Teamsters Local 170. And they were on strike. I joined on the picket lines in solidarity. But where was the rest of the Teamsters? It was the students out by themselves. They should not be fighting that fight alone. I believe there's like 3,000 to 5,000 union teachers in Worcester. Where were they? The carpenters. There's so many other people in the labor movement. NALC members, postal workers, any public sector workers. Like we should be packing those and seeing that fight as our fight as well. But sometimes oftentimes it's the case where you just see one or two people. It just should be looking entirely different, but we could be, showing our power and muscle a lot more than is the case. So
Yeah. One thing too that I did like, and I think Paul brought this up too, and I know you talked about it, but the protest that you guys did, and that's awesome because even if it's 5 people, even if it's just 10 people, that looks now if you get 10 people to protest Lowe's, for whatever union busting, that's not going to make a big difference. Lowe's is a big corporation, but you have a college that prides itself on community engagement and being kind of a liberal, nice. That makes I've been in offices where small protests outside of like a human services place, management, they're terrified of that getting out. That ruins their image. That'll move them. And that's exactly what you need. Even if it starts small, but you had a good sized protest, that's great. That makes them look bad. That gets attention. God forbid someone puts it on social media, a news story picks it up because they pride themselves on being the squeaky clean. Oh, all students are welcome here. All viewpoints are welcome. Well, why are you going after people who speak out and you're going after free speech? So I think that is a great thing that you guys are doing. I mean, you're going through the grievance process too. I mean, like I said, there's an investigation. Your union's going to defend your rights. That's a good thing. That's the shield. The sword is what you guys are doing there with having people do the protests, do the petitions. That's activating people. And it's been really good. And I'm really, I mean, nice. I'm sorry this is happening, but this is a good story about, a union coming together and some people, and that's great. So we're happy and sad for you at the same time.
No, I really do think it was amazing because it's like, look, people protested 2 weeks ago and they put in a protest, ban basically, or restriction or whatever, like put in protest rules. I believe this past fall. They attempted to last spring, I believe, and then people gathered and pushed back on that. And we actually had a list of a bunch of faculty and staff who said, no, this is not okay. We have a right to, free speech and to protest and whatnot. But yeah, so it's great after this protest that happened 2 weeks ago, then they're now trying to attack us and threaten our jobs over, to actually organize a protest and be like, no. You can't scare us because they want to ice us out. They want
Absolutely.
people to be afraid to take action if they can make an example out of us. What does that say to the rest of the campus community, rest of people in general in the area? It's like I mean, I think other schools are watching very much. And what precedence does that send? So great that it happened. Unfortunate that I'm glad I didn't get terminated at my investigatory meeting yesterday. Good. But I also wasn't put back into my job. Well, not into my job, but like basically resumed taken off administrative leave. Sorry, I always have to figure out how exactly to word that. I haven't lost my job, but
Right.
that's still very, very possible at this moment. And so like trying to make that clear, this fight isn't over. It's not over until it's over. Really encourage, like really urge people, please help put the pressure on, share the petition link with others, because that does more than you can think, actually, like for them to see the comments from alumni, from people in the union, people outside the union. I saw names on that list, so I was just sort of like, oh, interesting. So yeah.
Awesome. And this will be my last question. If anyone else has any, just write stack on the chat here. But my thing too is like the one good thing, of course, is and this is everybody, some people, and I believe this, but like even if it's a bad union or a good union, but even if you have a bad union is better than no union at all, because at least you have protections built in. There is a process to protect your job. A lot of people, if they don't have a union, you got nothing. They could just fire you and that's it. And then all right, that's illegal. Well, then go file an NLRB board. All right, that'll take you about 3 months. You got to hire a lawyer. You got to pay for that. And then you got to wait on unemployment for another 6 months to a year, probably a year if you're lucky, trying to go through the whole process without a union. The union really, I mean, that's the good thing about having that union with you is that at least you have people legally who can protect you, give you a free lawyer to defend your rights and everything. So I'm encouraged. So props to the MTA on that. That's great that you have such a quick response and you have some good leadership there too. I do deliver her newsletter, so I do see was it Miss Tang? I think is her name. I forget her name. The head of the MTA.
Max Page?
Nope. Okay, wrong person then.
Yeah,
There's a lot of different.
AFT Boston Teachers Union. I think Jessica Tang.
Jessica
Yeah,
Tang. That's it.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
All right. That's it. All right. That's it. But that's
yeah,
good though. So
yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
So
And I think there's very much a point though to be made about like, so federal workers have been attacked too, but like we need to fight for stronger leadership in our unions because yes, MTA has been fighting for me, but like locally, our union has been quite dead. We don't really have real meetings. We don't meet. Like, how do most people in unions engage with their unions? What does it mean to them? Like, I'm so glad to have a union, absolutely, but it should be doing way more, and it can be doing way more. So to raise those ideas, to like fight, like some of you are, to be in leadership and be elected by your members, and to try to democratize them, make them more militant, whatnot. That's a crucial part of, I'm an ISG, I'm a socialist, and part of the work that needs to be done in the labor movement is to fight for a stronger labor movement, better unions that can really build broadly, help build a workers' party. Because the way in which our unions are strung along with the Democratic Party and line up behind them is a failing. It's a death sentence in a way. It kills really unions because you confine yourself to the court system. You're not going to challenge what is, at the end of the day, a corporate party funded by corporations, defending corporate interests. Those are the bosses. Like, we can't be lining up behind the bosses in the bosses' political party. We need a party of our own.
absolutely. All right, Derek, you got a comment?
Yeah, no, the talking about your local being dead reminded me when I was in school, the my college basically decided to call broke and say, "Oh, we're gonna have a financial crisis in 10 years, so we need to restructure," which meant slashing professor pay and firing all of the unionized custodial and dining hall employees, who, by the way, made $15 an hour. The only reason they were doing it was to get rid of having to pay for healthcare premiums. They hired a lot of them back as temps just to avoid paying healthcare. And they did this in 2020. Uh, um, And the union, they were a UAW local, and they were totally unprepared for what was happening. Like, they didn't realize that they were dead yet, you know?
My God. Yeah, that is a standard practice too. I mean, I can only imagine like the post office. Can you imagine if they did something where they hired like a non-career staff and made them work without pay and benefits? Oh, wait, yeah. That is the trend right now. And that's happening within unionized plant. Like that is how weak our unions are getting in this country. You know, was it what, eight out of 100 workers in America are in a union right now. And, you know, the Teamsters, the UAW, SAG-AFTRA, thank God for them for like actually making people think, hey, unions fight, because, you know, with our union, the NALC, you know, there's no fight in our union. There isn't.
Not yet.
With the leadership. Not yet. Not within the leadership we have right now. There's no fighting. It's just compromise. You know, if you know, because right now, obviously, we would like laws passed that favor the workers, which is very tough to do in a bourgeois government, because they pass laws that only benefits them, not us. But, you know, we do these things trying to get it passed, and, you know, that takes collective action. And when unions don't believe in doing collective action at all, you know, other than send a letter to a senator, you know, write a letter to a congressman, attend to, you know, they always say, well, there's an app. You can go on the app and type in your zip code and boom, there you go. That's your That's not activism. You know, hey, look, do it. Whatever. It's 30 seconds. Go ahead and do it. And I do it to show people this doesn't work. Like I'll tell you, I'll write a letter. Sure. Ain't going to happen. You know, but we have protests. We put pressure on it. We mobilize the rank and file to actually go and protest a politician who's trying to fuck us over, or they're not listening to us. So that's collective action that we need to start seeing here.
They're gonna keep you down, step on your neck, can't move no more. The weapon that they're choosing is censorship and war.